Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm not gonna lie, we've just been talking for a good 2 minutes and I realised I was using the wrong memory card. This memory card is actually just messed up, it will not work, so we're gonna have to start this again. But in today's video I wanted to do 5 relationship tips that we have for getting past the honeymoon stage, when things start to get a little bit more trickier and maybe you were arguing more or anything like that. Obviously, like, every relationship has their ups and downs. We're engaged and we're together almost 3 years now. That's obviously a long period for some people and it's short for others, but for us it's very long because it's our longest ever relationship, and I would say our only really serious relationship.
Yeah.
So I thought that I would let you guys in on just 5 tips that we had and we came up with to help you if you're struggling or you just want to know how to have a successful, long-lasting relationship. As I said, like, our relationship is not perfect.
No.
Some people online probably think it is, but obviously, like, you're gonna have like those days where the person just irritates you, but these are the 5 tips for getting past that and just, I suppose, having a healthy relationship. So
yes.
Without further ado, let's go into the first one.
Tip number 1 is communication.
Yeah, tip number 1 is communication. This comes in all sorts. I mean, if you're long distance, maybe a phone call regularly, texting, a FaceTime. If you're actually together, making the time where it's just you two so that you can talk about anything is so important. Communication is not just black and white. For us, I had a really hard time communicating when I was feeling like down or we struggle sometimes because I tend to go into my shell, but Lee loves talking about things deeply so that I can get it all out, but sometimes I just need those few minutes. So I think that we have definitely improved on our communication.
Oh yeah, we've definitely improved from the start, but like, as I always say to you, no matter how big or small it is, bring it to me. And you have to do that because it builds up after time, and next minute you're into an explosive argument that could end up ending the relationship that neither one of you really wanted to end in the first place.
Yeah.
And then you're on a spiral to...
And just letting you know, we've never like broken up or had anything huge.
No.
But I'm just saying that it is so easy
but like,
to
there
get
has been times where both of us have bottled up stuff when it comes out in an argument, and like, we're sort of lucky that both of us are very much apologetic sort of people, and like, we do understand each other's side, but there are times where you don't understand one another, but that's because everything's been bottled up and it all comes out in one go, and it's overwhelming, and you're like, well, I'm done. Yeah,
and you have to remember that this is 2 people that have had 2 different very different backgrounds growing up. Everyone's unique. Coming together and living together, and communication isn't always going to be perfect, and at times you're going to be like, why can't I just communicate? But honestly, like, it's the same as when you live with your parents. Like, you're going to have moments where you're just really upset with them, and you don't know how to portray that to them. Like,
what we try to do is once a week, just no phones, no sort of television, and just sit down, talk to one another. If there's anything on one another's mind, we get off then, and then it's all good.
Yeah,
but if you have to talk before the 1 week, that's perfectly fine. Like, sometimes one of us might have a bad day and we have to talk about it.
Like, I noticed just this last week with being fatigued, like, just don't really have the energy for much, and that gets me down in itself, and it can be hard to like know my needs when I'm like that, because I just want to go into my little ball and stay on my own and like isolate myself almost. But that's like when communication is the most important. So I would say that's one of the most important tips, is just figuring out what communication works for you and making that a priority. Some
conversations are going to be difficult, but if you're willing and able and want to make things last, you have to go through the tough talks and work things out.
So number 2, there's like a few different parts to this. So making time for one another, which can be difficult. Like, I think it was a big shock when Lee went back to work and I was still trying to build like social media and figuring out what I wanted to do. It was very hard to like be on my own a lot of the time, but Lee has like the more practical like routine structured job, so he's gone set days a week and you can't change that, and he doesn't work from home. So like we're very, very different in that sense. And so at the beginning it was very like hard when he would go. Now I feel like I'm so used to it, and I actually like appreciate the time on my own at times, because that's important too. You have to be able to be on your own as well as being with your partner.
You have to enjoy your own company as well as others. But like with us, it's making time for one another, especially in the summer, because I'm working. I'm now back training in soccer as well, so I'm gone 3 times an evening
and that's probably one of the arguments we've had before, is like
making time
and not having enough, or like just not understanding when each other needs one another more. But it's something we've gotten through. Like you just have to find a good balance where you have that time together and you feel satisfied, but then they also have their own life, because that's extremely important too.
Yeah, exactly. And like as you said, you'll have you're wanting to get back into horse riding, and
which will happen like really soon.
That'll take a couple of days out of the week for you, and then like it's just, I think is in that point as well, is follow up your own partner's interest. Like you mightn't like it. Like I know that you are not a particularly big fan, or in any way, shape or form a fan of soccer, but to be fair to you, you make time. If I ever have to come home and rant about it, you're always there listening, or
I go to a match, or I cheer him on. Like just because I don't play soccer and I don't have like huge interest in soccer doesn't mean that I shouldn't support him in his hobbies, because soccer is a huge part of Lee's life. And
I'm the same with you when you're back horse riding. I can't wait to see herself back. I've only seen videos of her on a horse, but I can't wait to actually see it in person.
Hobbies I have now, though, like social media and things like that, Lee is so unbelievably supportive, so I want to be the same for him.
Yeah, because I want to see the best for you, and if that is in social media, photography, whatever, then.
And another thing with time is routine.
Yes.
Like if Lee was saying, if you were to like do long distance, like we kind of done long distance at the beginning. I wouldn't say it's long because it's a 50-minute bus journey, but it was like out of my comfort zone. As someone with anxiety, I really did struggle. Yeah,
because you at first struggled with going on the bus on your own. Like when you were living with your mother and all, and Uncle Carlo, like we had a routine where I would come down Thursday, stay until Friday, come home Friday because I had soccer training, and then you'd come up with me and stay till Monday or Tuesday.
And look, so really, we're a bit extreme. We probably don't need to see each other like the whole week, but
we only really had a Wednesday that we weren't seeing each other.
Even if you can just make 1 or 2 days a week to definitely see each other and like make it work.
Yeah, like if you're, let's say if you're, I don't know, you're a couple of hours away in terms of counties, like schedule something in a middle county. You don't always have to go to each other's. You can
especially if it's longer than like an hour bus. You definitely want to be making sure that you're both putting in 50-50. And sometimes it's not going to be 100% 50-50. Sometimes I would have went up here more, or he'd come down to mine more.
Yeah, when you...
if there was events on, or he was having a family gathering or something.
When your mother-in-law were moving house, like I stayed and helped you with that. But like that's you're going to have that.
Actually, I'm going to add another point into here. It might be 6 points, but I really think that it's important to not always expect the man to pay. I know that this is actually a touchy one. I seen on, I think it was a podcast on TikTok, and they were saying that they expect like the man to pay a certain amount of times, and I just think I'm not really interested in that. I think it's lovely if they offer the first time. You were really
shocked when we first met that I went and paid when we went for lunch.
And it wasn't that I was lowering my standards, but I don't really care whether he pays or I pay, but I don't want the one person having to pay all the time. I think it's good to have like...
We go 50-50. Sort of 50-50, so for example we went...
we went to the spa and then we went for food,
so you paid for the spa.
Yeah, and then he paid for
and I paid for... No, it was the other way around.
It was the other way around. And it worked out pretty much the same.
Yeah, like sometimes it's not going to be 50, but who cares?
And look, in marriage and as like with our relationship progressing, there's times where one of us will have more money saved up for a certain thing, and so like he'll pay for something or I'll pay for something, But usually it is pretty 50-50.
For example, like say someone was buying something, and so we have bills that we share together, so we just go, okay, you don't pay these bills this week. Because
you bought this.
And
it all works out pretty much.
And then it all works. So. Tip number 3.
When it feels right, do it.
Yes, we
moved in together.
We decided to move in together in what was it, January or February of 2020, and we were only together what? It was before COVID anyway. So
5 or 6 months.
We're going to.
We got engaged at 10 months.
10 months.
And I remember getting so many messages off of people online that I didn't know, being like, "You're way too young, it's way too soon." But then everyone in our personal life was like, about time, like they were waiting on it.
Apologies if you can hear the washing machine.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, we're back.
We're back. We're back.
No, but really, what was the... What was I saying?
When it's right, it's right. You were saying about when we got engaged.
Everyone in our personal life was so happy for us. That's all that matters.
Yes,
but even
if that's as long if you get engaged after 2 or 3 months, that's okay, because if it feels right, it's right. You can't let other people dictate.
No, I don't think I would really recommend after 2 or 3 months, only because it did take about...
You see some people that have gotten engaged after 2 or 3 months.
True.
And they're together now 10, 11, 12 years.
I think it depends how much you're with the person. Like, I feel like that's the thing on Love Island. People are like, how are they so attached to each other? But they're literally together 24/7. So they're spending a lot more time together than the usual couple would in the beginning. And so I feel like they know each other a little bit better. So I feel like that's how it's so easy to get attached and like really like someone. And even love them by the end of the series, you know?
You have to, like, feels right is right. It's okay to wait as well. That's like...
Yeah. Some people, it takes 10 years. Like,
if it doesn't feel right to do something after 5 or 6 years, then that's okay. But, like...
Perfectly okay.
6 months felt right for us to go, right, we're moving in, and then 10 felt right to get engaged.
Take your own time. Some people are going to be quicker than others.
That's it, like, when it feels right is right, and don't let anyone tell you any different.
That's exactly it. Now, the 4th one. Okay, prioritise the other person's love language. This is
predominantly you now, because you won't understand this than I do.
Right.
I understand, the only thing I do understand is that your love language is, like, it's a lot of cuddles and kisses and stuff.
Touch.
Yeah.
I think that you need to figure out each other's love language, because it's so important. There's a few different love languages. One is words of affirmation, which basically just means that you like being shown love through words. And then there's also gifts of acts of service. Gifts, there's touch, and there's a few others, but mine is touch. And I feel like you have kind of a little bit of it all. Yours is a bit touch.
Mine is more touch, because like all I love at the end of the day is cuddling up next to her and either talking or watching something or whatever. But I'm happy enough to do that every day.
So both of our love languages are very similar. The only time where I don't like to be touched is in the morning. He tends to just come over to me and he's cuddling and messing with me, and I'm like, leave me alone.
Yeah, you're not a morning person, where I am giddy in the morning.
Yeah, so like embrace that you're going to be unique in ways, and that everyone like wants love very differently.
The only thing I'd say about the love language thing is, right, that you have to be patient with the other person, because they might not understand your love language.
Yeah.
And it'll take time.
100%.
But you have to be patient with them.
And also, it doesn't mean that the relationship is over if you have to ask for them to prioritise your love language or prioritise how you feel.
Yeah, because you've had to get on to me.
There's been moments at the, like, after the honeymoon stage when he went back to work and we were out of that, and no, we weren't really as cuddly and stuff for a little while. Didn't last very long, but for that little while I was like, oh my god, he doesn't cuddle me anymore, or hold my hand. And I had to tell him that, and he was like, oh wait, I don't. But it's not because I don't want to, it's just, it kind of just, I just forgot. Like, I didn't really think about it because he was either tired or busy, and I've done the same to Lee. I'm sure that there's been times where I haven't shown as much affection and he's like, cuddle me, like, or something.
Oh yeah, it's always going to happen. But again, that's where step number 1 comes in, lads. The communication.
And then number 5, which is probably one of the most important ones, is have boundaries. In a healthy relationship, there has to be a line, and what I mean by that is when you have an argument, you're going to have a heated argument one way or another, but our rules that we just absolutely will not cross is we will never curse at each other, we will never call each other names, we will never scream, because those 3 things just don't make sense to who we are. One, we don't feel like it's necessary to be cursing at one another.
You have to have respect for one another. Like, yes, you're going to have arguments, but they're like, if you're going to scream the head off one another and call each other names, then like, where's respect for one?
It just, the line becomes blurry once you've crossed it. Yes. And then it might start with something like you're stupid, but then it might start to like get really, really bad. And like, the last thing I want is for us both to be upset and lying down thinking they just called me stupid, or they just called me a bitch, or, you know, like all these awful things that you just don't want to hear. Like, no one should ever feel that degraded in a relationship.
Like, one thing I never want you to feel is that you're being bullied in this relationship. I never want you to go, well, he's calling me stupid, he's calling me this, he's calling me that.
And it's a great tool to learn to be respectful from the beginning, because when we have kids, the last thing we ever want to portray to them is that calling each other names is okay. It's just never going to be a thing. And to this day, we've never called each other anything. No, and we've never screamed at each other. And I think that's so important and fair play, because there's probably times where we both just wanted to be like, but we didn't.
I know there's probably going to be people looking at this and going, what are these people doing? They're only been together this amount of length and they're this age. But lads, there's still no excuse for not having respect for another.
Yeah.
And not calling each other names. The one rule, one sort of suggestion we always made was never sort of try and go to bed mad at one another.
And the thing is, we've done this a few times. I've been upset and just went to sleep, or Lee has just went to sleep. But the next morning, straight away before starting the day, we do usually figure it out. Yeah. We don't ever let like the whole day go, because sometimes I need those moments to again just get myself together. So do you, and then figure it out. Yeah,
because sometimes with us it's give each other 20 minutes and then go.
Often with me, I need that 20 minutes just to get my thoughts together, figure out how. But it's so easy to like create a toxic environment in a relationship when you start to cross the line of respect and stuff like that. So I would just really encourage that if you do want to get to a healthy engagement and a healthy marriage and things like that, you definitely need to have boundaries. And if you haven't made them yet and you're kind of clueless on what boundaries you want, just sit down with your partner and say, look, no, we haven't had this chat before, but I think that we should set boundaries so that we can make this the best relationship for us and not cause trauma in the relationship, and just be the best us on our own and as a couple. Well, yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
Give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, comment.
And we can do more videos like this.
Leave comments, lads, suggestions of what you want to see from herself or myself or the two of us or whatever. But look, we'll see you again. If you can't be good at it.
Bye guys.